Alright, so in the last tutorial we made this really nifty spaceship. Now what we're going to do in this video is we're going to texture paint, which means we're going to add the colors that look to make it look more like this ship here. With that said, what we have to do first is we have to do something called UV editing, and that allows us to create a two-dimensional representation of this model so that we can paint on it. So when I click on UV editing here, you'll see it takes us straight to edit mode. So if you're in object mode and you see this, make sure to switch to edit mode. And what we're going to do is hit A to select all of these faces. And you can see here that there's all these like jig-jagged lines and stuff. And that's because by default, your model is going to have these things called UVs already made. But we need something where we take all of these faces and we flatten them out so that we can paint across them. Now, there is a better way to do it where you unwrap a model and you create seams and stuff. But because we're sort of rushing through this process, where we can so we can have a spaceship model that we can composite into an environment, we're going to use the quick and dirty, easy way to unwrap our model. So what we can do is go to UV and then just go down to Smart UV Project. So let's see, I believe that's under, let's see, Unwrap and then Smart UV Project. And then you can leave these settings as is and then hit OK. Oh, you know what, maybe let's leave that scale to bounds off and then hit OK. And nothing happened. Oh, because we have to select it in here. I'm sorry. UV, unwrap, and Smart UV Project. Let's turn scale bounds on and hit OK. So now you can see that if I go through here and I hit L, let me uncheck this for a second. This is all of the pieces that make up that chunk there, here, here, and here. So these are all of our fin pieces. You can see they're part up here. Now that we have it unwrapped, if I hit A to select all, you can see these are all of our pieces. We can jump over to texture paint mode here. I noticed that I was in edit mode when I jumped over, and that's why I can see my UVs here. There's also this option, which I believe is here. Is it here or is it, where is that option? Let me see. View. You want to make sure update automatically is on as well. All right, so what's going to happen is if I'm going to hit F to adjust my brush size here to bring it down. But as I start painting on my model, you're going to see this error at the bottom. It says missing materials textures detected. And because your model doesn't automatically have a material attached to it, we want to go down to this materials tab here and click new, and then you can just name this spaceship. I usually do _MTRL for material. And then for base color here, I'm going to click this dot and I'm going to select image texture. And I'm just going to click new. And I want to save this as spaceship texture. And then I'm going to change the color here, maybe to that blue or something, or maybe a red. And I'm going to hit OK. And you'll see that it put the whole model here as red. But you're like, well, why didn't it update in this texture area? Well, we actually have to select it here. So this is our image texture here. And we can go in now and say, okay, you know, I know these are supposed to be red, but the hull here is supposed to be white. So as I'm left clicking on brush mode here, and like I said, I can hit F to paint, I can actually paint across this surface. Now you notice that the tip here of our spaceship is red. So what I'm going to try to do is, and we could also turn on wireframe here, and that kind of helps us, you know, have some guiding lines, is I'm going to go between this view here. I'm sort of painting this out. And this helps a lot if you have a tablet. And just kind of painting across this way too. And that's why it's nice to have both views. And this is going to look pretty. Let's see if I can. It's not really pretty sloppy is what I was trying to say. It's just kind of painting across here. Let's hit F to make our brush a lot bigger so we can get all this. And then we want to kind of leave that bottom little rim at the bottom. Well, I guess for the spaceship we don't need it. All right, so there's that. And for the eye piece here, I'm going to go ahead and click on this. I'm going to click my eyedropper. Now, right now you don't see it, but if I click on this eyedropper, notice it's still sampled this image here, even though it's not in the scene. It's a separate program called PureRef. And I can just kind of go in here and sort of paint out all the way around this just so I can make sure that I know all of the pieces that make this eye thing up. And then in here, I can just go in and just paint this. And I remember there was a piece of this wing in here somewhere. Yeah, all of these wings were up here. So just got to make sure I'm not grabbing that or that's overlaying here. I can also increase my brush size in here. And definitely get a tablet when you're painting this, because like after a while, if you're painting with a mouse, your wrist will start to hurt. And my wrist definitely is starting to hurt. All right, that's looking pretty good. You know, these you want to go in and make sure you paint them right. And we can also go in here and just kind of look at this from, let's tab and go to object mode. Well, let's do it right where we go back to layout and then we render it this way just to kind of see how it looks. Now, mind you, you want to stay true to the, I'm kind of like fudging this a little bit, but you want to stay true to your concept. I mean, like, look how low the tip of the thing is for me. So I'm just going to go in here and sample this white and then make sure it's just, as I mentioned, I know I'm going a little sloppy here, but just for the sake of the video, I just want to make sure I get all that information in there. All right. And then in here, you can go in and just make sure you go all the way around. And then you want to make sure you save this image. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make a folder on my desktop. And I'm going to call this Spaceship. And let's see, where's my spaceship? I'm going to make sure that this is a JPEG because I don't have any transparency. Save image. And then I'm also going to just save this spaceship file onto my desktop and to the spaceship folder. All right, that's it for this video. Next tutorial, we're going to do a little bit of compositing of this spaceship into a live action scene.